of former President Donald Trump's 2020 campaign. Frankly, we did win this election. The inside story of how Trump lost by author Michael Bender chronicles the aftermath of Trump's election defeat, including this. This is from Mike Pompeo, former Secretary of State. Quote, "The crazies have taken over," Secretary of State Mike Pompeo warned a colleague. He conveyed concern to others that Mr. Trump might be more willing to engage in an international conflict to strengthen his political argument for remaining in office. Joining us now, Michael Bender, who is also the senior White House reporter for the Wall Street Journal. Michael, great to have you here. Congratulations on the new book.
Thank you.
I started with the Pompeo quote because from a 30,000-foot view, I think this is the thrust of what your book gets into, which is that so many people inside the White House and in Trump world felt that the president was dangerous.
Yeah.
Felt that he was dangerous, yet didn't take it public.
That's right. I think we are all pretty familiar with the story of the chaos of Trump's 4 years, whether it's the administration or the president himself. What this book lays out pretty methodically and for the first time is how dangerous the people who were closest to Trump thought he was for the country. And there's example after example inside this book. And you bring up a very good one. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo he becomes very concerned about the national security of the country, the domestic unrest and what that could mean internationally. Privately, he sets up a daily call with the chief of staff and Mark Milley, the nation's top general, in order to try to keep temperatures down. Publicly, what does he say? He says that there's going to be a smooth transition to a second Trump term.
That's a problem. If so many people in this world felt that the president was a threat to democracy, yet weren't willing to tell the American people?
People have different reasons for being around Trump. There's a lot of shorthands in the media, enablers, grifters. There are plenty of those around this president who are attracted to the center of power, as in any administration. What was striking to me in reporting this book was how people kind of told themselves that they were the truth tellers to the president, that they were the ones who were there as the guardrails. But when you talk to other people in those meetings, and no one was really telling Trump no or being clear to him from minor things like the size of rallies. No one told him that Tulsa was going to be a half empty until he was in the arena, and he learned it from TV. That story's in the book. And bigger issues here, all the way to January 6th, where Mike Pence tells Trump he'll look at any legal analysis he has, any legal analysis that his lawyers can come up with, he'll take a look at, although he doesn't think he has the authority to overturn the election results. The president hears that first part, and here's the vice president's openness, which brings him to an interview I had with him where he tells me, Mike Pence never told me that he wasn't going to do this. Mike Pence never told me no.
Again and again and again, you bring up that Pence thing because Pence, except for throwing paper at him once at a time, or having paper thrown at him once at a time where it's been in the press in 2018, never tells the president really flat out the truth about the election. There were campaign advisors who went into him early after Election Day and said, there was only a 5% chance?
5 to 10% chance of winning. There's if you recall, the election takes a few days to be called. The people closest to Trump are trying to decide what to tell him. Some people did want to tell him, you've lost, let's move on. The decision ultimately is to present Trump with a plan that he still has, not to tell him he lost, but that he still has a chance to win. 5 to 10% chance. And I tell you, there's not a 5 to 10% chance of overturning one of those states,
right?
Let alone all three that they needed.
But what he heard there was, so you're saying there's a chance?
Well, correct. I mean, you think back to 2015 and his first meeting with Corey Lewandowski, his first campaign manager, who tells him, we have a 5 to 7% chance of winning this whole thing. And it worked.
The reason I wanted to lay that all out is because of the impact that it has on Trump supporters. That ultimately you can draw a straight line to the January insurrection. One of the things that I think is so terrific about your book is interwoven without the book is your vast experience at Trump rallies, starting back in the campaign, but all through the administration, where you spent time and talk to the people at these rallies who go, and it's almost, I'm a Grateful Dead fan. It's almost like Deadheads. It really is. I mean, it's people who go from show to show to show, except, they're not holding up a finger saying, I need a miracle. They're trying to get tickets to all these Trump events and following him like he's a prophet. And ultimately, you stay in touch with one who was also at the insurrection, Sandra, and she gives us an insight into her mentality. She says, "We're all on the edge of our seats waiting to hear about the next event," she said. "Now we're like an army, and it's like boots on the ground. Tell us where we need to go. Tell us where we need to be. And we just drop everything and we go. Nobody cares about if they have to work. Nobody cares about anything."
Yeah, that's right. I mean, for a lot of the Trump supporters, he gave voice to a lot of their insecurities, their grievances, and for the first time, and draws a lot of people into politics for the first time. The people who go to all of these rallies, they get, like you made the Grateful Dead comparison, which I think is a good one. They found a sense of community there. People who have time to go to 20, 30 rallies are estranged from their family, don't have families themselves, and they found their own little family here. Which in a way, Trump enriched their lives. But I think, and I appreciate, this book is going to be the only one that takes readers behind the scenes of the Oval Office to show how he governed the country, behind the scenes of the campaign to show how they spent $2 billion and were still scrambling to chase Biden in the last days, and then spends a lot of time. I was embedded for 2 years with these Trump supporters, going to rally to rally to rally with them. And it's important to understand them in order to understand what happened on January 6th and why thousands of people keep showing up for his rallies in just this last month.
When he lies to them, many of these people are buying it. And when the people inside the White House know better, don't publicly stand up to him, it's allowing it to happen. And I think that's why the impact here is so important. Look, there's a lot more in this book. Stick around, because I want to talk about the leak where the president threatened to have the leaker executed. We'll get to that when we come back.